everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Kat, and for today we're going to be looking at something absolutely beautiful. This is from Ensley Cosmetics. I think this is the first palette from them that I am featuring on my channel, but I have several of their palettes at this point, and so we will just at some point just take a look at everything that I have, because I have a couple more palettes coming from them that were like fall or summer releases that I ended up being late to the game on the pre-order for. But this one I was on top of, and this is their winter palette. This is the Lands of Enchantment palette. And the design for their palettes is just absolutely gorgeous. And then you also have the back of it with this super beautiful castle theme that is on there. I think I actually prefer the back to the front on this one, just because I love like magical type backing, and this is just an entire magical back, so I absolutely love it. But we're gonna jump right in. We're gonna start off with swatches of all of the shimmer and metallic shades, then I'm gonna do an eye look. We're gonna come back for the finished look with my whole face on so you can see the final thing. But first, when you open it up, it already has a beautiful mirror that is inside of here with a really nice design around the side, and then this is the color story. It is absolutely gorgeous. There are definitely quite a few iridescent shades that I'm very interested in trying, and the shades get significantly darker as you come down diagonally on there. These shimmers down at the bottom are absolutely gorgeous. Quite a few of them are giving off like a little bit of a holographic like kind of shimmer to them, but just absolutely beautiful. I cannot wait to swatch all of these because the camera is definitely not doing these colors justice yet. So we're gonna get up close and personal with these swatches. What I also really like about this particular palette, and the way that Ensley does their palettes in general, is that all of the pans are removable. And so if you don't want to hold on to the palette itself, and you're someone that loves to just kind of rearrange shades and create your own color stories, you can easily do that with all of their palettes. And so I think that's a really fun thing for those of you guys that love having a single eyeshadow collection. You can easily do that with any of the palettes and then just add to it, because they also sell single shadows too. So be on the lookout for all of that. I will say that the palettes and the products in general from Ensley are a little bit more on the pricey end. I would put them in the same realm as Cleonda as far as like how much you're having to pay for the palettes. This guy with shipping and everything ended up costing me close to $100. I believe it was like $88, and then shipping plus Arizona has tax. That's just absolute insanity. But when you consider the quality of the shadows that you're getting, the quality of the palette design, I definitely think it's worth it. But they are something where you're going to be paying a pretty penny for it. So right off the bat, just know that. However, I will say they do give you freebies whenever you put in an order. I have gotten several of these little dudes that have eyeshadow within them that are absolutely gorgeous. These are all multi-chrome glitter flakies, and they have been free gifts every time. I have also gotten some smaller single shadows, again, that you can pop out and add into your collection. So lots of different things that you can get from them. And so I think that's really, really nice that they include a couple extras, and they're all really nice extras. So I definitely think that makes it even more worth it. I think the only negative, aside from it being a little bit more costly, is that the shipping does take a little bit longer. Sorry, I had to step away for a second. Aria was crying. This is Aria right here. She's my new doggo. Yes, ma'am. She's a Belgian Malinois puppy. Yes. And we got her from the shelter. She's just absolutely adorable. We love her. But she is a little bit destructive still, as she is learning how to be in a house. And so she knows where the food is hidden inside of a cupboard. And so she's been trying to claw her way through that. And so she was crying, and I thought she had gotten hurt, but no. Just crying because she was upset that she couldn't get to the food. So she definitely keeps me on my toes, but I mean, we've been having so much fun with her. She snuggles so hard. She's like literally in my lap right now. But I love her. We're gonna do a get ready with me at some point soon where I will talk all about her, but she is in and out of the videos, and so That's why mid-sentence I was like, what? I hear a baby crying. So, all right. So the main thing, aside from the price, that I find a little bit frustrating with Ensley Rain is the shipping time, but they do very clearly tell you when things are pre-order. And so with this palette, I was able to get it not as a pre-order, and it did ship pretty quickly. I would say within like a couple weeks at most is how long I had to wait for this one, so not bad at all. The pre-orders have slowly been trickling in, and so that is the only thing where like I get a little bit bummed, but they're very clear about it, that they're pre-orders, and they let you know how many weeks you're going to be waiting for the product. So that is really, really nice that they're very good at communicating. But just keep that in the back of your mind as an expectation, you know, that you might have to wait a little while to get your palette. So enough chit chat, let's get to the swatching, because I know that's why we're all really here. All right, so for those of you guys that are new, the way that I do swatching is I do not swatch matte shades. I just prefer to let those kind of speak as I use them on my eyes, but I do swatch all of the shimmer and metallic shades so that you guys can really see all of the different shimmer and kind of shiftiness of each of them. So the first shade up is going to be Faye. Oh, it's so soft. It is a very, very nice iridescent shade. Oh, this is gonna be gorgeous. It's definitely a multi-chrome, and it has a clear base, which is really, really nice. So that makes it into a gorgeous topper shade. But oh man, it's, I'm seeing like oranges, yellows, pinkish, very hot pink, holy moly, a little bit of green. So here we go. You can already see as it's trying to focus how it shifted between orangish and yellow. There's your pink, almost a little bit of purple down at the bottom there. Oh, look, and there's your yellowish orange. Oh, this is a gorgeous shade. And I mean, and even from back here, it's blinding. So, oh, that would be a standalone shade, like a topper shade, an accent shade, whatever you want it to be. That's a gorgeous, gorgeous iridescent. So we are starting it off strong with a multi-chrome iridescent, and then light language is, it looks like it glows in the dark to me. That is how strong this blue is that I am picking up on there. I think it might actually be a little bit purplish blue now that I am looking at it. Oh my gosh, a little bit more sheer than the last one. So from far away, I'm picking up like a little bit of greenish yellow on there. Definitely yellowish in there, like kind of almost like a slimy green, I would say. And then when you get close, look at how blinding this purple blue is. Like, that is what I am seeing in real life. It is like, it glows. That is how strong that purplish blue is. Oh my gosh. And with all of these, I mean, with this guy especially, there's no cast to it, so you could easily use this as a multi-chrome highlighter or as an eyeshadow. This would be good for either option. And from back here, I mean, just gorgeous. Ooh, okay. This is what I mean. They are well worth the money, but it's just, and this palette is huge. I mean, there are 25 shadows in here, so it is very, very good. The next one is Divine Light, and this guy also looks like an iridescent. I would say leans a little bit heavier to the purplish pink rather than the bluish purple of the last one, but equally as blinding. I would say it's a very similar formula to the other one. It goes from like a pinkish purple into a light aquamarine-ish teal blue, and just as transparent as far as the second shade, so you could easily use this guy as a highlighter too. You're seeing a little bit more greenish on that one. I mean, God, these just, they sparkle to the heavens. Look at this. So from back here, you can already see very, very nice. And then when it comes in, there you can see that aquamarine. And then as it gets close, you can catch that pink on the top portion there, the pinkish purple. And then there a little bit more, that pinkish purple, which really lets you know that this guy, the second one, is a more solidly purplish blue. So very nice. You can also, as I pull away, really see the difference between the green and the blue on there, that it shifts towards. Oh, so good. I really like those, and definitely both of them would work as a highlighter. I mean, just absolutely gorgeous. The only difference I would say on the formula is that this third shade is a little bit more on the sparkly side, whereas the second one is like a straight cream kind of feeling on there. You're not catching quite as much of a like glittery sparkle, but it just glows. The next shade up is going to be Earthlight, and this is the first of the more chunky, kind of holographic looking shades. I definitely think there's a holographic undertone to the glitter, and this guy has like a burnt rose pinkish kind of shade to it. Very shifty still, but absolutely there are some holographic sparkles within it. So I am seeing it go between like a burnt rose into kind of a goldish a little bit. So here you can definitely see the pink base to it. And then as I'm coming in close, you can definitely see some more of the sparkle. It's a very thick consistency on there, very opaque, and little bit at the top, you can see that kind of goldish sheen coming in. It is very holographic though, it is super pretty. The next shade is Moonrise, and this guy also looks like it might have some holographic shimmer in there, but it's very much so more on the greenish to gold that I have there. So let's give this guy a swatch. Ooh, definitely the green is coming through, and I would say the formula on this one is a little bit more sheer. It's not quite as chunky as what this pink guy was. So as I come in close, you can really see the green that is on there. And I think you can also see the sparkliness of this one a little bit better. The hollow is coming through much better. I think it's also coming through on that pink guy a little bit more. It's looking a little more chromed out on there, but both of them definitely have holographic, and you can see this guy goes from like a yellowish green into kind of a lighter dusty pink sort of shade on there, whereas the burnt rose shade doesn't have quite as much of a clear shift. It just goes between a burnt rose into kind of an orangey coppery yellow. And then I think that is it for the holographic shades, just those two. So when we get to the third row, Shattered Stars is going to be a very nice formula. I mean, they're all very creamy with how they feel. And this guy, I think I've definitely seen this particular shade quite a bit. It has kind of a cranberry red base to it, and then it shifts between pink, blue, and purple on top. So you can definitely see where it's got a little bit more of a kind of reddish, brownish undertone, and then when you come in close, the top notes go between blue, purple, and pink. So that is definitely a shade that I have seen plenty of times, so that one is not quite as unique as some of the other shades that we've already swatched. It is still very nice, but just of note that it is not a particularly new shade. So then the next one is going to be True Essence, and this guy is a chunky boy. I'll try and keep that in there. Very flaky in consistency, much closer to the chunkiness of this guy that we swatched. So let's see what we've got. Ooh, very flaky. And I do think that this guy actually has holographic sparkles in there as well. And it's kind of a teal blue into silver. So you can really see this kind of icy blue with silver. And then as I come in close, you can definitely see more of that sparkle, very flaky, chunky consistency on there. And so you can see a little bit of my skin underneath. I would recommend with this guy probably using your finger to apply it, just because of how chunky it is. If you use a brush and you attempt to just use like a dry brush, it's probably gonna flake away to everywhere. So I would just recommend using your finger and then just press and pull is how I apply these types of formulas on there, so that way it doesn't kind of flake everywhere. Then the next one is going to be Lunar Light, and this one is not quite as creamy, but still very, very flaky feeling. And it's gonna be a chunky boy again. So here we go. Ooh, very pretty though. So this is kind of a lilac to green, but very icy. So I really like that. You can see kind of that lilac up top. And then when I come in close, you can see how it kind of has a little bit of that icy, almost mint green that it shifts with it. So between lilac and mint green, but very beautiful, just very much so icy with that shade. The next one is, I think, very deep looking as far as shades go. This is Cosmic Flow. Okay, it is definitely also not as creamy of a consistency, but still very chunky. So I would say similar to that last one. And this guy is like all of the burnt shades. So very much the opposite of what we just swatched, because this is going to be your dark cranberry to raspberry with some copper and a little bit of more yellowish gold tones. So you can really see the raspberry shade, and then as I come in closer, gets a little bit more cranberry, and then at the corner you can almost see that burnt kind of orangish bronzy shade, but very much so like in real life you can really catch the kind of bronzy yellowish orange shade on there, but in the ring light it's a little bit tougher to catch it. Let's see here if I get close. Okay, so if I get close with my finger, you can definitely see a little bit more as it's trying to focus on there, that it has a little bit of that kind of orangish look to it. That's sometimes the only way that I can get these to show that particular shift is by coming in close with the fingers. But it is definitely the complete opposite of the iciness of this guy. Very rich, warm tones with that one. All right, then the next one is going to be Lemuria. And this guy looks definitely like it's gonna be shifty. It's back a little bit more to the creamy consistency, but still a little bit thicker. And oh, it is also very, very pretty. So this guy goes between kind of like a yellowish into minty green. There's some sky blue, light purplish, very pretty. So it's got a blue base to it. And then when you come in close, you can already see some of that purple. And let's see if I can get the green. I mean, you can kind of see a little bit around the, there's a little bit more where it's turning kind of like a cross between like a light teal and a mintish green. And I mean, just really beautiful on there with how that guy is looking. Super duper pretty. I mean, very nice and pastel-y. Ooh, so on my finger, I am seeing holographic sparkles. I will say on my swatch, I am not really picking up the holographic sparkles in the same way that I am with some of the other ones that we swatched. Yeah, but on my fingers you can definitely see a little bit more of that hollow look to it right before the camera focused in on it. So definitely hollow within this shade. It's just not quite as bold and readily apparent in the swatch. I think these last two are the two that I am the most excited about because they look beautiful. So Starseed is this deep, rich blue. I am sure there is like some purplish that's gonna show up in there. It is absolutely gorgeous, has a black base to it, so it's gonna show up really, really nice. But this blue is just blinding. Yeah, definitely has some purplish to pink in there. I would say though that the blue, with how strong it is with the glow, is very similar to this guy that we had swatched earlier. It's just, it's blinding. So here is that aquamarine blue, and when I come in close and it focuses, you can see a little bit more of that purple that is in there as well. It goes really, really deep with the blue into kind of a royal purple, and then back to the aquamarine. Very, very light color on here from back here, but I mean, just blinding with how chromy it is. And I'm also catching a little bit of some warm toned purple on there as well, but that one's a little bit more difficult to catch. But I mean, just absolutely look at how much this guy glows. It is just so gorgeous. Definitely some green tones in there, and then when you come in close, the blue and the purple really come out. I mean, absolutely beautiful. I definitely really like that shade. So then the last one is going to be Moon Magic, and this one, ooh, okay, much more slippery of a feeling for this guy. I'm also seeing some hollow in there, but it's got a black base to it, and I would say is a little bit more on the warm toned purple into magenta side. Yet that is not what you were seeing there at all. That's like green, greenish blue. All right, here we go. Oh, it goes fuchsia and then has some yellow in there. Oh my goodness, this shade, and you're like, what are you talking about? That is clearly like green and blue. Oh my God, this is gonna be amazing. There is the purple I was talking about, that warm tone purple. You can definitely see some of the sparkles from the holographic around the edges. And then when I pull back, the bluish green. I mean, talk about transforming in front of your eyes. That is that guy right there. Oh, that is best shade. Absolutely gorgeous. I mean, this guy plus the iridescent shades that we swatched at the beginning, by far my favorites, although I do really love this icy shade that we swatched. I mean, so many good shimmers in here, but this guy, to me, I don't have another holographic one that is exactly like this. I do have quite a few holographic single shades, but this guy, that level of shift with the hollow in there, plus still maintaining the chrome, that is absolutely gorgeous. Here's all of the shades in natural lighting as well, so that you can really see the holographic sparkles in the ones that are hollow. And then you can also really see just how much some of these iridescent guys are absolutely glowing. Okay, so this is all of the different shimmer shades that we have within the palette. That is a very wide range of options. So I think that's the only thing that kind of distresses me a little bit with larger palettes, is like trying to figure out what look I want to do because there's so many shades. So I think, oh, it's so tough because there's so many good ones. All right, I think we're gonna end up going with a purple look because I really want to use this guy. It's so pretty. Oh my God. Okay, so we're gonna do purple, but because of how that shade shifts, it's still gonna end up showing a lot of other colors in there. So it's gonna be very interesting to see how that guy layers. I actually kind of wonder if I want to use, no, we're gonna stick with purple. I don't want to go too crazy. I was debating using this kind of tealish evergreen shade because as you guys are seeing this shade, I think it would go really nicely with that. But the purple that I am seeing goes really well with this Utopia shade that is like a little bit more on the warm violet side of things. So I think that's what we're gonna do, is that I'm gonna stick with the purple tones. And so I'm probably gonna start off with Enlightened, which is this like super light lilac. Then I'm gonna go in with this guy, and then I think I might finish it out with Great Crystal, which is more on the cool side, and then have in the center layered on top of this one is where I'm gonna put the shimmer. So I think that's what we're gonna end up doing, and then I might throw on one of the iridescent shades along with it, although I'm having a real hard time because these shifts are like blowing my mind right now. Like I don't know how I want to do this look. It's gonna come out crazy because depending on how the light hits it, I'm not gonna know what to do. So I am going to throw it on, and then I'll let you guys know once I'm done layering the mattes how that ended up going, and then we'll throw on the metallics, and then I will come back with my full face on. So let's go through the mattes first. All right, so this is the matte shades applied, and I can definitely say that it's a little bit more similar in formula to like the Blend Bunny Cosmetics formula, in that the shades are very pigmented, but they have almost kind of a watercolor like formula to them where to build it up, you need to work a little bit more. And then to blend them together, I was using two different brushes. I was using this little dude right here, and this is from e.l.f. This is their eye creaser brush, so it's a little bit smaller, so that's how I was applying it to kind of pack it on a little heavier. And then I was using from Singe Beauty, this is the Echo 03, which is their super fluffy blending brush, to kind of blend it all together, and that worked out really, really well for me. Although I will say that purples are a very difficult shade for me to blend together, especially if I'm going from a cool toned purple to a warm toned to a cool toned. And so that is what I was working with. So it was definitely a little bit more difficult to blend them together, but I mean, the level of pigment on here is just absolutely gorgeous. You know, theoretically, I could just clean up the ends on here, throw a wing and some lashes on and call it good, but we want to use the shimmers. So we're gonna do that, and once we're done with that, I will clean it up. I will throw on a wing, maybe some lashes. I could be convinced, who knows? Who even am I? We know I don't really wear lashes, but it is the holidays, so I feel like for an eye look like this, I might throw on a little bit of some lashes. So we shall see. But let me get to the shimmers now, because that's where the tough choices really come in. Okay, so I applied the sparkle, and I decided to only do about the inner third to a half, and I mixed two of the shades. So I really like how it turned out. What I ended up doing was I started off with this guy that was kind of our icy purple to yellow shade, and then I layered on top of it our blue that is just that absolutely glow in the dark blue. And the two of them together, I think just, I mean, depending on how the light hits it, it turned out really, really cool. So I am very excited for how all of that is going to look, because you catch, like, from what I'm seeing, I catch like, it almost turned it lilac-y, but it still has a little bit of that blue shimmer. But then you also see this like little bit of gold underneath. And so I think the shades just blended absolutely together. So, I mean, the shimmers blend spectacular, and they layer really, really nicely. And I added a little bit more of a harsh line underneath the eye with the Great Crystal shade, which is that deep purple, just so that when I go in and add everything to it and then kind of clean up the outside edge, that we maintain a little bit of a darker look, and then it still has kind of a blown out under the under eye of that same purple shade, but it's just diffused a little bit more. So I am gonna go ahead and throw on the rest of my face, as well as clean up the eye look and finish it out, and then we'll be back so I can show you exactly what the whole thing looks like. All right, and we're back with the final look. So I'm gonna come in close so you guys can see the shimmers and everything on there. Please don't judge the lashes. I decided not to put on liner, and like when I look up close at it, I immediately am just like, oh, you can distinctly see that there's a line that's missing between the lashes and like my regular lashes. So noted for the future, I need to make sure I paint that line in. So that's super fun. But as far as the colors go, I think everything turned out really, really nice. I love how it's like a fun, almost like half summery vibe that I'm getting from this, but also the colors are like just smoky enough to where I feel like it's a good winter look as well. But I would love to know what you guys thought of everything. Definitely, what do you think of the swatches? I mean, I think these are absolutely gorgeous shades. I'm super excited to keep using the palette. Definitely excited for the rest of the palettes that I have coming. Let me know what you guys thought of everything. What do you think of the eye look, how it turned out? I think I've been doing a lot of like monochromatic looks of late, and so I kind of need to go back into mixing and matching. And I think with the particular tones in this palette, it would be really fun to do like a purple and teal look, because I think those shades go really, really nicely together. But let me know what you guys thought of everything. Give me a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you did not, as we always do here. And if you made it to the end of the video and you have not yet subscribed, I would love it if you join my family here. We talk a ton about indie brands, we do really colorful makeup, we swatch absolutely everything up close and personal. And so if that sounds like fun, I would love if you would join us here. We also do a ton of unboxings around the Christmas time. I have several more unboxings coming your guys' way, as well as some of the others that we just posted like the last couple weeks. So stick around for those. And other than that, you guys just go have a good one.